everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, now redubbed by Disney or Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it, Legends. Today I have for you, I think I made this joke in my first video about this novel, but about the great superhero Iron Fist from the Marvel Comics. No, I'm just kidding you. Today we talk about the novel Book 6 in the X-Wing series, Wraith Squadron, Iron Fist by Aaron Allston. I don't have too much to say. This book is one of the more slimmer books in the Expanded Universe, coming in at only like 310 pages, and it is shorter than the other X-Wing books. That being said, it's really good. The main gist of this book is that the Wraith Squadron are going undercover as pirates to find out where Zinji is hiding. And Zinji gets some more screen time in this book. He's a good villain. He's not the best or anything. He's no Thrawn. I've heard some people say they prefer Zinji. I mean, he seems like a typical Imperial that just can't get caught. Han Solo is in this a little bit, but it seems like he's going to have a much bigger role in the next novel. Most of this book, you know, they're undercover, they're pretending to be pirates. They do these missions for the Empire again. And they even trick Zinji into thinking they are pirates into joining them, without getting too much into spoilers for the book. That is essentially the gist of this story. Without talking about any spoilers. Because I do have some things to mention, the most important things in this book, but I can't talk about it here. We do have some deaths in here, though, as X-Wing is famously known for, and here we get to see some of them. And I'd argue top 5 best deaths in the Expanded Universe happens in this novel. But every character that you got to know is built upon more here. Kel Tainer's a little bit more in the background since he was kind of the main character in the last book, but he's still around. So is Tyrion and everything. The people kind of get propped up more in this book are a couple of new characters that we get introduced to, and Ton Fannin and Face Lauren. They are kind of more of the main characters this time around. Wedge also has to deal with some things as a character that has been gone for a while returns. And so, I'll leave it at that. I think this may be the crowning achievement of the X-Wing series. I don't really remember Solo Command that well. It could be better, but it's going to be hard to top what this book did. And I'll talk about that in spoilers. But let me just tell you that as an Expanded Universe fan, you need to read this book. You owe it to yourself to read this book. And with that recommendation, I'll move on to spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, now it's time to get into it. I think it's better if you go into this book not knowing too much. Though, if you've been in the Expanded Universe, thing for a while now, it's kind of hard not to know what happens. But if you don't know, I don't want to ruin it. So please, please, please go read this book. Well, I mean, go read the entire X-Wing series, but read this book eventually. Don't want spoilers? Please, please leave. Usually I say even if you don't care, but I don't care if you don't care. Leave. You are doing yourself a disservice by knowing. It hit me hard and I knew. I wish I never knew what happened, even the first time around. I wish I could go back to not knowing what happened. Would have hit so much harder. Go read this book. I'm going to talk about spoilers now. So we get introduced to a new character named Lara. And it seems like, oh, we're going to get a repeat of X-Wing. Of the first 4 books. That's kind of annoying. But we don't. Laura is supposed to be a traitor. A fake person. In Wraith Squadron. The only difference is that we know about it this time. It's not a surprise. Except that, surprise, surprise, she decides that she actually likes these people and Rafe Squadron as friends and decides not to be a spy anymore. And I thought her character arc was really cool, and I expect more to come from her in the next book, but I really enjoyed what we saw of her here. Again, I barely had any notes. Other than Face is a wonderful character, and I'm glad that he was included in the series. But now we get to the most important part of this entire section. Fannin'S death. So expertly done, Aaron Allston, you absolute Chad. Matt Wilkins has also described this scene in his reviews, but it's so poignant because Face goes and finds Ton, and he doesn't look too great, but they're smiling, making jokes, continuing on. Fannin gets kind of fatalistic, says, hey, if I don't make it, and the stereotypical thing, well, don't say that, you're gonna make it. They get to this point where Face asks him a question, and he doesn't respond. I'm sorry, I'm kind of tearing up. And he doesn't respond. And so he goes and looks at him. No words are said. It just says that for the first time since Face was a child, he cried. And then the following chapter has this letter that was left for Face, saying how he left him in his will. That Face was the best friend, the one that he left his will under. I just thought that was brilliantly done. Rip Tom Fannin. Tom Fannin was so funny. I will miss him. He was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And lastly, the thing that Wedge has to deal with in this book is the fact that somebody we haven't heard about since the comics, Baron Fell, is still alive and is working for the Empire again. But this is weird. We know that by the time of Hand of Thrawn, he works with Thrawn, but here it seems like he's working with Zinji. But is he really? I don't know. We'll have to read onward to find out. But the biggest thing is that Wedge learns that Baron did find his wife. His wife is fine, that they are still alive. The Baron has seemingly rejoined the Empire. Up next, X-Wing, Book 7, Solo Command. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with you.